Are you struggling to find ideas for a short film, especially during lockdown? Or perhaps you have an idea but you're not sure how to develop it? Then this series will help you generate an idea, turn it into a screenplay and finally get it made. There are many ways to get an idea for a short film, but I'm going to share with you the methods that help me. I find that ideas come flooding all in at once, or they don't come at all. So a more methodical approach is sometimes needed. Firstly, as we're making a short film with no budget, we need to look around us to see what we have readily available. This comes down to how many people you can have in the film, what locations you have access to, and any props that you might be able to base an idea around. At the moment, during lockdown, it's difficult to find people to be in your film, so we have to just work with what we have. But for the purpose of this video, let's just say that you have one person, therefore you've got one actor to base your story around. As far as locations go, perhaps you live in a flat where you've got a general living area and a bedroom. To start with, you've already got two locations that you can use. Now's a good time to look around your house to see if you've got any props that might make some interesting concepts. I've got an old-fashioned telephone laying around which I might use in the future, but for an example, my first film that I made, we just used a vape. This one. Now it's just a common everyday item, but it was enough to base a story around. In my example, a man gets a mysterious package delivered to him by mistake. After fighting with his restraint, he then decides to open the package and take a look inside. Inside the package is the vape, although it's not a vape. He fiddles around with it and eventually presses the button, which then suddenly duplicates himself. He then presses the button again and the same thing happens. So this is a very simple idea which didn't take very long to come up with at all. And there's a link above if you'd like to watch that short film. With the telephone, perhaps our character receives a mysterious phone call from the spirit world or another dimension. Or maybe you've got a picture at home that possibly moves around when your character isn't looking at it. But you get the idea. So base a story around the people you have in it, the locations and a prop. The next method is the what if question. Now this question is a very powerful tool in developing ideas. What if I won the lottery? What if your daily routine was turned upside down due to a simple mistake? What if you fell asleep and got trapped in a dream or a nightmare? What if you went to a hypnotist, but when you open your eyes you were on a rooftop holding a sniper rifle? The list is endless. The next method is character situation, where you create a character, give him a name, a job, a personality, and then put that character in a situation to create some drama. What you do, you write all these things down and get a good understanding of what your character actually is and what drives them, what motivates them and what they're afraid of. Let's do this exercise together. Okay, as you can see, I've written out the main points that we need to know about our character. First things first, let's give him a name. Okay, I don't know a James Burton, but if you're watching, I hope you're enjoying the video. He grew up in a rich family, got everything he wanted, but his parents were cold and strict. Now his job, let's make him a salesman. Perhaps he sells stocks and shares. He's very, very rich. His personality, let's make him confident, charming, rich, likes to party, works hard. Let's pick some character flaws to give him a bit of depth. Let's say he sleeps around, has commitment issues, overindulges drugs and alcohol. Let's make him a bit of a bully. Now, what drives him? money for sure, success, power and control. I think someone like that would feel the need to be in control. What he fears, let's say losing money, losing his looks and charm, commitment and failure. I think that gives us something to work with. So we've got a rough idea of what our person does and how he interacts with the world around him. And it gives us a good idea of how he might cope with things or how he might struggle with things that might change in his life. A story about a character that's good at everything, gets everything he wants, is good looking and rich, doesn't really make for a good story. So we have to put him in a situation that will flip everything around. Let's say after a hard night of partying and overindulgence, our character makes the decision to drive home, where in his drunken state he loses control of the vehicle and crashes. He survives, but he's left with some terrible facial scars, destroying his good looks. The first thing to go would be his confidence. He can't go out and make a sales pitch if he doesn't have the confidence to do it. Therefore, he won't be making any money anytime soon. He can't get whatever woman he wants anymore, and he finds it really difficult to even talk to people. How would this character deal with it? Would he go mad? Would he become a recluse? Would he lose everything and become homeless? Or would he learn to adapt to be successful by generating new personality traits such as compassion, patience, and his own skills? Or for another example, perhaps your character suffers severe agoraphobia, which is a fear of going outside. He works from home, he lacks confidence and is afraid of pretty much everything. Now let's put him in a situation where all of a sudden something happens where nobody is allowed outside. A pandemic perhaps? At first he feels relieved because now everyone's in the same position. No one has to go out, so the pressure of going out is lifted from him. After time his confidence grows until he gets to a point where he actually wants to go outside but can't due to the lockdown. Eventually the pandemic finishes and everyone's allowed out and he enters the world as a completely new man. Even just going through this process and writing these things down can prime your mind into thinking of ideas more frequently. In between these exercises, it's a good idea to watch films, lots of films of different genres. As you watch these, you'll find that little seeds of ideas will start planting into your mind, ready for you to develop them when you get back to writing. The next method is situational, which is drawing on current experiences to base an idea around. For example, me and my partner, during lockdown, when we need to go and get food supplies, we'll take a 10-minute walk to the shops. On that route is a church with a graveyard, and you can walk through there to get to where we need to get to. Now the other day, we were walking through, and I wanted to have a look around the other side of the church, just out of interest. As we walked round, the path ended, so we had to walk our way in between the graves. I said perhaps there's someone in the past who's got a shiver down their spine as we've walked over their graves. I'm sure you've all heard that expression many times. This planted a seed in my head for an idea, and it started with the what if technique. What if there really was someone in the past that was feeling me walking over their grave? What if this theory or this saying was actually a real thing? How could I turn that into a short film? Okay, so you've come up with an idea. What do you do now? In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can get that idea and turn it into a workable screenplay, and to flesh it out and make it a bit more interesting, and base it around our no budget, our location, our actor, and any prop that you might have come up with. If you found this video interesting, please remember to subscribe and press the notification bell so that you'll be alerted when episode 2 of this series comes out. Thank you for watching, get writing, and I'll see you next week.